Hello, and thanks for joining me. Well, I'm happy with the way the speed control knob turned out. I got to do a few more little tweaks on the drive. But right now we're going to take this thing apart and take it to the sandblaster, and then we'll put it back together, paint it, make it look nice. Well, let's get started. Here's something kind of interesting I'm going to do. I'm going to put a rule here with the speeds on it. This is just temporary, the label's on there, and I'll put a little indicator on this, the back of this yoke right here to show the speeds. I think that'll look cool. This table's got a really nice counterweight on it. Once that column is lubricated, I'm sure it'll move easy. Oh, the counterweight. Okay, let's see what this will do. Not moving much. I'm not sure it's moving. I think the next step is to heat it up. I hate to do that because it uses a lot of acetylene, but I think that's the only alternative. Ooh-wee. Oh man. I suppose I could leave that on there. It'd sure be easier to clean up if it was off of there though. Plus the head is very slightly twisted. Twisted in this connection right here. To get everything to line up right, it needs to be turned a couple of degrees. I don't think I'm going to be able to get it off of here though. Well, I never did get the bottom off, but I did straighten I took a 4x4 and smacked it here and twisted the column in line with the base. So I'm just going to leave it on, or leave the base on it because I cannot get it off. I don't know how this comes apart right here. I don't know what this does. I don't know if there's Babbitt bearings in there or what the deal is. Oh, cool. That's fairly simple. Real simple. I like simple. I like screws on a nameplate instead of those drive pins. Makes things a lot easier. It's a roller for the counterbalance. I'm cleaning this off because I want tapes to stick to this. I'm going to tape it up real good so that the sandblaster doesn't, I don't want to sandblast the machine column. I'll keep sand out of the tube right there. I got masking tape on everything that I don't want the sandblaster to hit. That's really why I wanted to take the base off, but I believe it'll be all right. Well, there it is, ready to go to the sandblaster. Hopefully that tape holds up okay. This part here I'm just going to do by hand and take paint strip or two. Well, I'm back from the sandblaster. He quit doing it. He no longer sandblast machines. I'll get to unload this booger. Undo all my tape and do it by hand. This drill press is heavy, but it's a little bit lighter than other ones that I've messed with, which is nice. Here's why I'm grinding as opposed to using paint remover. It's got Japanning in here. That's like a filler they used to use. It's a tar type substance. Impossible to take off with paint remover. Not impossible, but it softens it but doesn't remove it. Just makes a gummy mess. Sanding it and repainting it with a filling primer works better. I got this spray paint. It says sandable primer. Sandable primer. Doesn't say anything about it being filling. We're going to try it. I usually use automotive primer. It tends to fill real well. But I got this paint really cheap, $2 a can. So if it doesn't work, no big loss. And I'm sure I can put automotive primer over the top of it. Just scrub that with soap and water. Worked pretty good. I'm using wet and dry paper here. It works way better on primer. Doesn't clog the sandpaper. Takes it off a lot faster too. What I'm doing is I'm sanding it down to, well, so it sands through on the high spots. If I sand through a little bit, I don't reprime, but if I sand through a lot, I reprime and it adds more filler. Just according to how nice you want it to look. Well, I probably should have cleaned this up before I painted it. But it'll be all right. Paint's real dry. Taking 1,000 grit to this machine surface here. It's cleaning up nicely. And before that starts rusting, I'm just going to take a little bit of whey oil. I've got a gel type rust remover. Normally I use Evapo-Rust, but on something like this it doesn't matter. This is quicker. This is really quick stuff compared to Evapo-Rust. Evapo-Rust is good for something you can soak the parts in. I think I've got some tape residue left over from where I had it all taped off from sandblasting, for sandblasting. And the tape residue is stopping it from getting some of this rust. It's doing pretty good except for in a few spots. Well, I don't know how this comes apart. I don't think it'd be in anything under this. Might be. Never know. Ah, there's a set screw under it. Now this is a spring in here. Maybe I don't want to get that apart. The spring is relaxed right now. This is spring for the quill. I got this, I don't know what you call it, this intersecting set screw out of there. I just wanted to get it apart to clean it up. Maybe I just need to leave it together. If it comes apart easy, I'll take it apart. Well, I'd hate to break that spring. You know, that's something I could get no problem. First time that's been apart in about 1,000,000 years. Boy, it looks like fun to get back in there. That looks like a spring that was broke a long time ago and left in there. That's weird. Set screw goes on top of that tapered key right there. Well, I'll do good if I remember how it all goes back together. Oh, it looks like there's two springs, and only one of them's good. Wow. Okay. Well, one spring's going to be good enough. It was kind of weak, but it did raise the quill up, so I guess that's good enough. I think I'm going to not touch that in there. Maybe add a little grease when I put it back together, or oil. I think that might be an oil hole. Just a lock washer setup. I mean a lock nut. Cool. I'm curious what kind of bearings are in there, if they're sleeve bearings or Babbitt or what. Well, it looks just like the disc up on top, steel on steel. Okay, let's see if I can remember how this thing goes back together. Got that tapered key. Got a little burr on that key, I ground it off. Don't know if that's what was stopping it or not. Oh, look at that. Wow. I believe that's it. This right here is a depth stop. Got a little pin there that it hits. I think this does two things right here. You can set the spring tension. It holds it all together. Holds the rack in. I've got to duplicate that. That fits on that one, and then I got to make one for that. That's the power switch. Well, I'm really pleased with the way this thing's turning out. That about wraps it up for this week. Be sure and join me next week. I'm going to do a few things on the drive, mostly just dressing it up. We'll put the drive on, this little nameplate here, fix these broken handles, and then it'll be done. We'll see it in action. Thanks for joining me. Be sure and subscribe and ring that bell.